And how do we manage to get past this game so that we can achieve our goal for our people in this stadium? Maybe the only fans that are supporting us, but this is who we are, and this is how we get to the World Cup. What a great moment this is for Wales, for Gareth Bale, for Rob Page. Think about Rob Page for a second.
Yes, please.
Rob Page, a guy who nobody knew his name nor who he was prior to the issues with Ryan Giggs. And then Rob Page is put into this position, and now you got to make choices. Now you got to make decisions. And he has done such a great job in understanding the needs and wants of his older players, specifically Gareth Bale. How do I get the best out of this guy? Other managers and club level apparently can't figure that out. But I'm going to figure it out. And he has done that with the older guys, with the young guys, and now he finds himself in the World Cup.
We don't know what's going to happen with Ryan Giggs. If he's to move on, Rob Page has done more than enough, surely, to take this role on full time.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. What he's done, and you see with Gareth Bale, and you can tell from the pre-match interviews that Rob Page did, he said he's allowed him to do what he wants to do. He trusts the players. And when managers trust the players, that's a huge thing for players because they don't feel as though they're having to do things that they don't necessarily want to do. Rob Page promoted some of the younger players as well. So he's got this group now that, as a collective, they're stronger than individuals. You know, yes, you have Gareth Bale. Yes, you have Ramsey and certain players like that. But it's the collective side of this squad that he's brought together, that he's united. And he deserves an unbelievable amount of credit because of the circumstances which led to him taking over.
So let's talk about that group then. Group B, taking on the likes of England, Iran and USA. How would you see a USA side coming up against this Wales team?
If I'm at home, and I'm guessing the US staff and the players would have been watching this game, I'm thinking, I like this. We can play against Wales. We can play against Wales. There was nothing today from Wales that you go, man, they're overwhelming. Man, they're scary.
Man, they're going to stop us getting out of this group.
Yeah, well, yes, I just don't... You're not scared of Wales, right? It's a solid team with good players and a superstar. But I don't think it's an overwhelming team. I would have been more concerned from an American perspective to have had to have played Ukraine because I think the talent level across the board is higher than that of Wales. But of course, it's a World Cup, and you need some difference makers. And when you consider who the difference makers are for Wales, you look at Gareth Bale and then everybody else. So if he's at his best, it makes it more challenging. But if I'm the United States, I am not scared of Wales at all.
England and Wales in the same group, Tony? That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. it most certainly is. We'll obviously renew the rivalries. But I think Wales go there, and I think if they will go into their group, no pressure. I think there's more pressure on England. I think there's more pressure on the US. And Wales will be... Probably a lot of people expect Wales not to get out of the group. You go back to, I think it was Euro 2016, and you know, the certain styles of their play there. But I just feel that you look at... Each country does have its problems going into the World Cup. You know, you look at the US. The goalkeeper, who's going to be the goalkeeper? Is he going to be playing week in, week out? One of your main centre-backs, Robinson's injured now. So there's just so many twists and turns before the World Cup comes about. But I think that Wales will go in there as the underdogs, be happy to be that and go and enjoy themselves. And you just have to hope that other nations, they don't underestimate them.
I do want to go back to Gareth Bale, just if we can, because obviously he's such a big star when it comes to Wales. It's a golden era for them. Got some stats before the game. Since last August, he played 330 minutes for country, which is 40 more than he did for Real Madrid. And still he is able to turn it on when it comes to the national stage. It's not often we've seen something like this in world football, Ale.
No, and he goes against everything and anything that we have ever been taught about playing the game at a high level. Any of us who were lucky enough to represent our countries, the one thing that you wanted to do was making sure that you were playing with your club, high level, consistent, going into the national team because you felt you could take that momentum and you could take that form and you could feel good about yourself and bring that confidence in with the national team. Apparently, Gareth Bale doesn't need any of that. What we see from him is that I'm actually happy that I'm away from my club and I can go to the national team and I can thrive in this environment. And we see that now consistently. Now we can say it's just consistently. With club, no chance. With country, everything available for Gareth Bale and the best version of Gareth Bale.
I think when you look at this Welsh team and where they've been very good, where they've been very astute, they've built the team around Gareth Bale. They've built the team around him on a consistent basis.
And the team don't mind that. The rest of the players don't mind that.
The teams don't mind that, but that also goes back to the human being that Gareth Bale is. If Gareth Bale is a type of player that walks into the dressing room and is, oh, look at me, I'm higher than everybody else, the players, his teammates are going to have a problem with it. But because he goes in there and he is one of this group of players, he's so humble with it, other players are like, OK, we understand that we may have to do an extra 10, 15% than what we would do for our domestic team, but we know the reason we're doing that is because we've got a good guy up front who can make something from absolutely nothing and get us to the World Cup. So it's been beneficial as in terms of the way that the team's been built around Bale. That enables Gareth Bale to conserve his energy. He doesn't have to do the defensive side of things. Other people will do that for him, knowing full well that he's going to be the difference maker at the other end of the pitch. And over the years, you play, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Ali, you play with special players that not necessarily get preferential treatment, but they would be looked after a little bit more. It only became a problem if they didn't do their job on match day. Gareth Bale does it time and time again. So his teammates, they'll be happy to do that extra bit of work because they know at the top of the field, get an opportunity, the ball's in the back of the net, and a group of players there are going to the World Cup.
And that's the only thing I care about, that he's scoring goals over there. I'll do all the running, Gareth.
Yeah.
You score goals over there, I'll do whatever you need me to do back here. That's why it works.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.